Welcome back to another fishing mission, or should I say, fishing story. So I was looking through my phone today, and I was going through a bunch of old pictures, old fishing pictures really, to be honest with you. And what I kind of was thinking was, why not tell you about these pictures that I have? They're so old and there's so much behind them that goes into them. You haven't even seen the pictures yet, but there's just so much story involved with all these pictures. And I did a couple videos in the past about like a throwback muskie video I did, and it was just an old picture of a muskie that I caught, and it was just meaningful, and it got a ton of likes, a ton of reviews. So I figured I'd kind of start this series of like just old fishing stories that I have that you guys might like and that might be relative. Something that you would enjoy listening to. So to get off this started, there's this muskie that I caught so long ago. Here's a picture of it. All right, and this fish meant so much to my fishing career. And at the time, I wasn't a great angler. I mean, I fished and it was like a passion to me. This was my one thing in this world I love almost more than anything else. And this kind of like really took my angling to the next level, and this really inspired me to do even more than I was already doing. With that being said, there's a lot behind this fish that most people won't ever see. There's a lot of hard work and all this stuff that went in, and this picture was taken in November, precisely 1 or 2 days after Thanksgiving. And there's a lot that goes into it, but we're gonna, instead of starting of when I caught that fish, I'm gonna take you back to the spring of that year. Now, remind you, this picture is old. It was taken on a flip phone. For perspective, this is very old fish. I didn't have a phone at the time. I was young. I don't know. I didn't have a phone. And this was taken on a picture of with a flip phone. This was taken with a flip phone, yes. So anyway, we're going to take you back to when this fish started becoming relevant, to me at least. So early in the spring, it was like, not spring, but it was the first weekend of May or whatever, and me and my dad loved to walleye fish. Well, there's a local river around where we go, and this is basically like our spot. This is where we really started kicking off fishing together. This is where it like really, we've had stories of past videos, but this is when it really got strong, and when we really started to have a bond together was fishing. And this river kind of like ignited that and kind of got it going, to put it in perspective. So it was early spring, and we're just going out there. Honestly, we're just going to whatever we can catch. Smallmouth, walleye, pike, it doesn't matter. We are just going to catch fish, just have a good time. And this one spot has where another small little creek or little river meets, and we call it the T. So we're gonna call this River T. This is like our secret spot. This is our spot. So we're gonna call it River T, so I don't give any spots and locations away. But anyway, it was early in the year, and I had baseball. I couldn't go for some reason. I don't know what it was. Baseball. I played baseball. It could have been something else. My dad went with one of his friends, really, really good friend, and they went out to this river, and my dad said he hooked into a muskie, and he said he got it in, and they couldn't net it. Fish got away, but he's like, it's a really, really, really big fish. Well, fast forward like 1 or 2 weeks, and we're sitting there, and I'm throwing this bucktail about yay big, I don't know, 8 to 10 inch bucktail, red and black with a gold blade. And it's not like your big double eights or whatever that are huge, that a lot of turbulence and a lot of pull to them. It's just a single blade, not too big, and I hook into this fish, and I'm like, wow, Dad, this is a really nice fish. I think it's a muskie. Grab the net. So he goes to grab the net, and let me disclaimer, we do not have a massive muskie net. We just don't. But we have a big net that lands big fish. But it's not one of those nets that you can fit a human body in. Yes. So we go to net. I pull this muskie. It is massive. It's at least 50 inches. Yes, I'm a kid. I may be exaggerating the length of this fish, but it was huge. And I brought it in, and the nose of the muskie, the head of the muskie, hits the end of the net, the bottom of the net, and he goes all the way in, and half of the fish is hanging outside the net. I wish I had the net here to show you just how like big in perspective this really is. And he goes all the way in, and it was half hanging out. It wouldn't go in the net. It wouldn't fit. It physically was too big for our net. Well, this caused some problems, right? So my dad didn't know what to do, and one thrash, and the muskie just popped off. The hook on the bucktail was stuck in the net. The muskie thrashed, came unhooked, and it was just floating there. Like, he was just floating. It was not hooked, and he just swam away. Just popped right out and swam away. It was one of the most heart-wrenching things that I have ever dealt with in fishing. It was awful. And to be honest, I had no prior knowledge to this fish. Like, I was just going out there blind, basically. That's what I was doing. I didn't know any better. I was like, oh, I worked so hard to get to this fish. I wasn't that good of an angler yet to understand. So the summer goes by, and we keep fishing, we go to the spot, we do all right, blah, blah, blah. Fall comes around, and it's coming. Meanwhile, the whole time between that fish and the fall, I'm sitting there, and I gather up, I save my money, buy a couple bucktails, and I'm sitting there at nighttime just daydreaming about this fish. And I'm sharpening my hooks, I'm checking my line, I'm retying, putting new line on my spools, doing every little ounce of detail, and I mean every little detail. Everything was just perfect. And I mean, I really worked for this fish. I mean, I put in countless hours. I was watching muskie videos on YouTube. I was reading about them. I was just Google searching how to catch muskie. All these things came into play, and it was days, it was hours, it was weekends, it was looking and reading and watching. And you know, eventually fall came around, and Thanksgiving was around, and we had Thanksgiving. My family came to town. We're sitting there. Well, my uncle Adam came with us on, it was like 1 or 2 days after Thanksgiving, and he came with us. And to be honest with you, I didn't really want him to come because I had worked so hard for this fish. And you know, like, the amount of time I put in was just like, oh my God, I just want to get out to this spot and try to catch him again. And it may sound selfish at the time, yes, but regardless, it would have been really cool to see him hook up into this fish. So we go out, and we're in a canoe and on a river, and I hand him my rod. I mean, I check the knots, I check the line, I check the spinner, blades, hooks, sharpened, everything was just right. And he goes and he chucks and he winds and he chucks and he winds, and he's casting the spinner right where I'm telling him to, and everything just seems so perfect, seems so right. And for some reason, nothing's happening. Nothing's been going on. And I'm like, let it do this, do that, do this. And nothing was working for him. And I don't know what it was. And he was doing everything I was telling him to do. And my dad was saying, hey, do this, do that. And nothing was working for him. He couldn't catch a fish. And I don't know if it was just meant to be or whatever, but he ends up giving up on the muskie bite. He hands me the muskie rod, hands me that big bucktail, and he just starts fishing some crankbait. Well, so then I start chucking, and I take one cast, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a good 8 count, and this thing sinks about a foot per second. So I'm like, okay, and I'm reeling, and I'm 1, 2. I take one full turn, and I'm one reel to handle, one full turn, and my line just stops, me dead in my tracks, and I just go and just set the hook on this thing. I legit thought I was snagged. He didn't move. I went, and it just stopped me dead in my tracks. So then I'm like, Dad, I think I'm snagged. And sometimes when you get a big log or something and you're pulling, it just starts to come. Like it's a muddy bottom. There's a lot of trees, a lot of timber. It just started coming. I'm like, I just think I got a big tree. I'm gonna work it in. It's coming with me. But it was coming, I mean, like really slowly. I'm pulling like this, and it's coming, but it's not moving a lot. And then all of a sudden, it goes, and I can feel the head turn. And I'm like, Dad, that's a fish. It took us back and forth and up and down, and it jumped it came up and shook its and gave us a big splash with its tail, and it was awesome. And I really, really worked for this fish, and it meant so much to me. I got it in, and we were sitting there. I have this fish just panned out. I mean, just right at the side of the boat, and it was a good 5 to 8. 5 to 8 minute fight. It felt like the longest fish fight of my entire life. So anyway, I'm sitting there and I had this fish panned out, and again we go to net it, and it would not fit in the net. So this is where it gets dicey. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, yo, Dad, what do we do? Like, it won't fit. So I hand my uncle the rod. I take the net from my dad, and the fish, meanwhile, is halfway in the net, halfway out of the net. It won't fit. It's just stuck in, like, it's stuck. So I grab the tail of the muskie, and I have the net like this. I'm trying to tip it like this, and it's just, I'm a little kid. Like, I'm not a huge kid at this. Like, it's heavy. And my dad's like, we're just gonna go. I'm like, just go to shore. Let's just pull this thing right up, right? Because what else are we gonna do? Like I don't want to lose this fish for the third time. Like, my dad lost it, I lost it. I'm not losing this fish for the third time. So we go to shore, and I just pull it right up on shore. I just get right out of the canoe, no worry about anybody else. Just pull this thing right up onto the shore. And it was just like the biggest sigh of relief I think I've ever had in my entire. It was one of the greatest feelings I think I've ever had in fishing. It was one of the best catches I think I've ever had, because I spent countless hours spent on this fish, and it wasn't just but at the same time, it wasn't just the amount of time I spent on this fish. It was me and my dad doing this together, and it wasn't just me catching this fish. It was almost like he caught this fish as well, because he was there for all the times that we went out. He was there retying lines with me, spooling up reels, taking the time, putting the canoe in the right place for me to be successful. And it was just, everything came together at that one moment. It was one of the coolest catches I think I've ever had in my entire life. It just, to this day, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was awesome. It really, there's no words to describe how fun that was. And it was a special moment for me, to be honest with you. But, to this day, I'm going to remember that fish like it was nothing. But anyway, I don't have the lure with me right now. I wish I did. I wish I could show you guys exactly because I have it. It's sitting at home, but I'm at school right now, so I can't really show you guys exactly the lure. But anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed this fishing story. I really do like these stories. There's a lot that doesn't get put on camera all the time. There's a lot that you don't see, and I want to share that with you guys. I want to share just fishing stories, just good stories in general that honestly are pretty cool, and not everybody gets to know, because not many people really know that story. They just see a picture and go, oh, that's a nice fish, but there's so much behind that fish and so much behind that picture that not everybody sees. Well, I hope you enjoyed this fish story. I hope you enjoy this upcoming series that I'm probably going to be starting. This is going to be a regular thing, so I hope you enjoy these. If you do, if you like it, leave a comment. Let me know how you like them. Let me know what you like about them. Let me know what you don't like about them. Other than that, hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you on the next fish story, on the next fishing mission. And remember, always fish for the moment.